The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host for another hour of wonderful fun here at TFNN.com. We've got the S&P off about 6 points today. I thought this market would hold up until the afternoon. Not so much. We are in a week that has 25% of all the S&P stocks reporting. And one of the things I noticed this morning was just the absolute massive volume we had in the first 90 minutes of trading. We had over 1 billion shares at 11 a.m. Eastern time as the market started to pull back. I saw a lot of stocks that I've been trying to trail that they were running them at the very end of a fairly decent high type run, and some of the ones that had already been manipulated to higher prices. Basically, a couple that I was short, they pushed real hard on Monday, and they're under my sell price for my shorts. So I'm happy about that. I had about 1 day of pain. It was kind of strange to see these stocks do that, but there are a lot of stocks that are being held up as they're being distributed, and these things are getting weaker and weaker by the day. I'm going to show a chart later, not the one that I'm playing, of course, but the one that is the stock is acting the same way, and there is a fundamental reason why I'm short it, not just a technical reason. But we'll get into that a little bit today. But over 2 billion shares on the New York Stock Exchange tape as we speak, and what else can you say? But there are some fairly decent blow-offs in a lot of these stocks happening, and all while everybody continues to pile in things like the IBB. And it's getting awful narrow at the high end in the large caps and the fast money crowd out there. Anyway, my belief was that if we closed below 2,000 or 2,100 today, that it was all about lower prices in the coming weeks and not higher prices. We also have some geopolitical events going on. Look for the Gulf to really start heating up fairly soon. Gold was looking weak, and we were probably at some kind of make or break point. My guess is that the geopolitical events may be enough to get gold over this hump in the short term, much less if anything really bad happens. GLD's up, 0.75%, a little less. I don't think that there's much driving that other than geopolitical events. Don't think that Greece is going to do much for gold. I do think that if we saw some action in the Gulf, though, that would be a huge impotence for gold, and that is not my prediction, but my worry that something, when I'm looking at these stocks, something looks like it's happening. I don't know exactly where. Might be that we just found out that the Iranians are less than 2 months away from actually having a deliverable nuclear weapon, when it was supposed to be a year or 2 years or 10 years down the road. Basically, the Israelis were right, and it's about 2 months. So the question is, what's going to happen between now and then? My guess is they're not going to slow down at all. So we're going to have some kind of moment where the world and probably the U.S. is going to have to make a decision whether we're going to let incredibly insane people have nuclear weapons. My guess is this is going to be brought up probably highly over the next few days now that we know. In fact, everybody knew, but they called a lot of those people liars, that they didn't know what they were talking about. But it looks like even the U.S. government is now announcing that, yes, with what they have now, they're basically 2 months away from having a nuclear weapon. And of course, building a bomb is not all that big a deal. You can build one out of a mortar and some welding equipment. It won't be particularly efficient, but it will work, as in Hiroshima. Basically, you take a projectile of uranium on one end and fire it to the other, or basically fire them to the center. There's several designs. But you can have a rather primitive one. The hard part is always basically getting the uranium to about 80% uranium-235, where a percent, maybe 1.5% of uranium is usable. It has to go through a lot of refining. But if they're anywhere close to 80%, they can make a bomb that's going to work. And, eventually they'll probably get higher and higher quantities over time. But if they wanted to make somebody have a bad day, probably the thing to do is get one and then show it off and then threaten the rest of the people around there with it. But looks like that's going to heat up into the spring a lot faster. Of course, this is where we're going to probably see the next couple of days with stocks that are going to be the most susceptible to higher dollar. And we saw kind of a little bit of pushback in the dollar this morning. It was higher, and a lot of people climbing on and trying to sell it off yet again today and defending higher prices in the dollar, or a stronger dollar out there. Right now, the dollar index at 97.86, but we'll continue to watch it. And I guess we'll just get to a little history right now.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1982, future contracts on the S&P 500 become available for the first time as they open for trading in the pits of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Now arbitrageurs and index fund managers can either buy the underlying stocks in the index or a futures contract, which is ever cheaper. And sometimes the future contracts are much, much cheaper, especially in pre-market. It's an easy way of moving markets around, pre-market. If you're actually talking about moving the actual cash, that's a much bigger deal. But what can you say? Anyway, on this day in 1982, one of the friend of the programs and a gentleman I've talked to many times is Eric Scott Hunsader. If you've been watching the news, you found out that they finally arrested a gentleman in England for the at least as a peripheral issue with flash crash. Eric, I had him on, probably just after the flash crash, and said, hey, here's the guy that actually has the data and has figured out exactly what happened. Probably not a good thing, but it looks to me like he's been proven right finally after the FEC and some of the other trading commissions, kind of late to the party now, tried to ignore all the problems in the market. We're finding out a little bit about how this gentleman added to the flash crash. If you want all the details, you can check out basically not Nadex, but Nanex, Nanex. And Eric Scott Hunsader has a Twitter feed on that he always has a lot of stuff where he points out all the stuff that's going on, why the actual powers that be try to look the other way as hard as they can, much like they tried to look the other way and lie about what actually happened in the flash crash. But we saw exactly what happened, and now we know who did it, or at least partly who did it. But this gentleman basically broke a bunch of rules and laws. And when they dig into it, through all the fancy language, what you will find out is that this gentleman put in orders, canceled the orders at the same time that he put them in, and continued to put in orders for something that he would never have the ability to buy, i.e. that if they were all executed, he wouldn't have the cash. So there's several things that he did that will be illegal. What he did though, and apparently was doing it for a while before this blew up, and he found a weakness in the system, which is normally the way we find out that people were doing this kind of stuff. But he's been under the radar now for what, 5 years, 4 years, 5 years? Be 5 years in May, right? Basically they've arrested him. He's a futures trader, and it continues to be one of these things where he's just putting in orders after orders after orders and canceling them, but rolling the market with them. He was actually selling into it and caused the error. But he would never make sure that more than 1% of his trades actually ever fired through with what he was doing. And I think we're going to find out a great deal more. There's a lot to it's kind of like the innards of any kind of big fancy system like the telephone system. If you really find out about how it all works, you find out, maybe it's a lot simpler than you think, but of course, at the scale that these people are, it's much, much larger. There are a lot of systems glued together instead of one single system. And by doing that, they offer a lot of ways to attack the stock market. Normally, it's almost impossible to not get caught after a while doing this kind of stuff. This guy got caught with his hands in the cookie jar. I'm sure that there are a lot of other people that didn't press their algorithms, but my guess in the end, what did him in was greed. He probably should have put some kind of limit in so that it never went past maybe twice a statistical inference, which, happens enough that no one would notice. I think he just left it on, and it just kept on running until we were down 1,000 Dow points in a matter of, 13 minutes? But he will come out. But you might want to check out Eric Hunsader's Twitter feed. He'll probably be, he's the go-to guy. There are a lot of stuff on that Nadex site, on that Nanex site too, if you really want to dig in and go deep on the subject. In the meantime, we're looking at this market off 3 points, which isn't a big deal, but put together with the patterns we've had, a close under 2100 would be rather significant, at least technically for me. When we come back, we're going to start looking at charts rather early. It's kind of a quiet news day, getting ahead of earnings after the bell. We'll be back in a minute.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You've always taken the long view when it comes to investing, but what if there's an opportunity right under your nose? What if you could be more responsive to market trends to seek to boost your portfolio performance right now while seeking to reduce your overall risk? At Direction Funds, we connect investors with alternative strategies that seek to maximize their returns. Smart investors deserve smart alternatives. Find yours at directionfunds.com. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risk charges, and expenses of Direction Funds carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Funds. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact the Direction Funds at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. Investing in index funds may be more volatile than investing in broadly diversified funds. Distributed by Rafferty Capital Markets, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And we had a few stocks already reporting. IBM came out, missed revenues, basically what, 12, 13 quarters of continued lower revenues. Doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon, although everybody wants to own the company, including Buffett out here. So maybe there's something going on that she's telling them that she's not telling us. I doubt it. My guess is that we're probably a year away from IBM having substantial gains in both the supercomputer part of the business and the whole Watson product, which is probably going to be pretty big. Like a lot of these things, they continue to look for a application that would be killer for it and haven't found it quite yet. Volume was pretty good today. You could look at this as a little reversal. It tried to break out back in. I think part of that is that huge short interest, that all it had to do was not super disappoint, and people were going to buy it. But doesn't matter what it is now. Everybody's buying everything. Like there's not going to be any stock around tomorrow. Like it's all going away. But I do digress. Off 1.5 points on the S&P cash, 2.12 billion shares. Another earnings out there was UA. Now, they did disappoint. Talked a lot about the dollar in their conference call, down on significant volume. I would say that support's probably somewhere around that $75 level in this. So you may have another $8 to go. Yeah, you can make maybe a case that there's some minor support at 78. But I suspect that we're getting back down to that 76, 75 area as a spike down in this. What I dislike is that you really never had the kind of huge sign of strength when you were busting through this $73 level that you saw on September 8th of 2014 and the November 28th, 2014 high out here at 72.68. Would have liked to see a real sign of strength as it broke through that high. It did not get it. I think it's pretty good company, and they're probably doing extremely well for given conditions, but it doesn't look like the market's going to reward these higher prices. Of course, like I said, 25% of the S&P is going to be reporting this week, and of course, it really fires off tonight. It's going to be nonstop action, and probably getting a little bit of action ahead of those moves. Now look at some of the other stocks out here. Wanted to see how XLE is doing. This thing had been coming up to a resistance level. Light volume on the pullback so far today, but we're going up against the February 17th high in the XLE at $82.43. We went through it 4 days ago on April 16th, $83.23. We've decidedly closed back down below. The energy wasn't all that bad. It was a little lighter on this last leg from that March 13th low. But it looks to me like probably range bound at best without something blowing up in the Mid-East. What else do we have out here? A few stocks out here that were bouncing off light volume. Omega Healthcare, a little bit of bounce out here. It had a nice high volume move down on March 6th with 2.4 million shares. Got to $37.76. Went below it a few days ago on 1.8 million shares. Kind of went sideways for a couple of days. Up today, not a lot of volume in this thing, but not a bad looking chart other than the volume picked up and energy picked up a little bit on this last leg. So I wouldn't be buying it. Lexington Realty Trust, couple of REITs out here that look like they're getting close to making some kind of bottom. They're going to need some consolidation, but maybe the first signs that at least some level had been made. What you have to really dislike about this one is it made a doji yesterday. On March 10th, it hit $9.52 with 4.7 million shares. As it went into that low on Friday, 3.5 million shares and 2.5 million shares on Friday in a doji. And what you really have to worry about is that doji saying that this is the halfway mark down or the halfway mark up. Usually you don't find a doji out here that completes the pattern. You get some other kind of chop out there. But there's a few of them out here. I think Kim talked about that when we get back. Kimco Realty, another one of these REITs out here that it's kind of going after. It's March 6th, high volume low too. So we'll be back in just a minute.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
If you're like me, you see the world's emerging nations as a very real opportunity, as these countries and their economies are developing right before our eyes. And you can rest assured that Everbank has spotted this opportunity too. In fact, they just recently unveiled the new 5-year market-safe Future Economy CD. This is a CD that could really deliver, but you only have until May 7th to take advantage. Consider the facts. If the future economy's currencies beat the US dollar over the CD term, you'll get all the upside. And should they lose, no worries. There's zero downside risk here, as you still get back 100% of your deposited principal. Intrigued yet? The May 7th funding deadline is quickly approaching. So hurry over to everbank.com/TFNN-CD for more information, including important product details and disclosures. Once again, that's everbank.com/TFNN-CD. Everbank is an equal housing lender and member FDIC.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And as we come back, we were talking about Kimco Realty, and we got a little bit of a bounce out here in the S&P. 2099 on the S&P cash, so we're off 1 point. But, you know, when we tried a little higher, we sold off. This is kind of the tail end of options rollover, so we have to keep kind of an eye on that. But to me, it looks like it's pretty much over and done with. And we're basically 3 points off the low of the day. So not a rousing endorsement just yet, anyway. What else do we have? Oh, someone's saying my chart's not there. We'll go ahead and bring it back up again. Hopefully we've got it there. Anyway, Kimco Realty. This made a nice little low of the March 6th low, just like the other one did. $25.25, 3.4 million shares with exactly half the volume. So certainly not a buy signal. It'd be, well, I mean, it may be a buy signal, but certainly if you short this thing, you would cover it. One of the best signals I know. April 17th, 1.7 million shares, but it went below it. It's kind of closed back below it. Not a lot of juice, though. And, you know, the energy on this way thing is down. I wouldn't be buying it. But some of these things do look rather interesting in that they are at least testing lows on lighter volume. In the energy sector, we've got kind of a draw. It was a little lighter. And we've been watching this IWE. We've been talking about it for a couple of days. February 17th, $46.63, 860,000 shares, 4 trading days ago. April 16th, $46.95. So we did go above it. We closed below it. That's called proving the point in Wyckoff terminology. Did it with 680,000 shares, which is all you had. And now basically down on 600,000 already today. So we kind of have to keep an eye out on that. ERY on this one. The energy directional shares did test the previous lows out here. The only thing I can say about this is I keep hearing tidbits of problems in the Mideast cropping up. But certainly we did have a little pop as the chart saying exactly we should. We had a high volume low on November 10th at $16.33 in the ERY. That was tested 4 days ago with 2.9 million shares. And of course, we got a little bounce out of here. Not a lot of volume, but a little bit of bounce. And I don't know if you can say anything more than that. EOG is another one of these stocks that looks like it's a kind of at a make or break point. This high $97 range has been resistance in EOG. We came up, and energy did come out of this last leg. Wasn't dramatic, but it was substantial. We're off about probably 15%, 15% on EOG from the last low from March 13th up to the high yesterday, getting a little bit of pullback. Not a lot of volume so far either. But you went up against the February 3rd high of $79.88 with almost, that had about 9 million shares with about 3 million shares yesterday. And that pretty much all she wrote. We had some decent energy back on the 14th, but the stock didn't really go anywhere. As we hit that high, we had 5.8 million shares on the 15th, but it spiked through there. And as soon as we start seeing stocks make new highs, the volume tends to fall out on most of these, or if not all of them. You can always give me a call at 877-927-6648. You can email me at PATH, that's path, TFNN.com. And, of course, you can post a message at the den. And someone is looking at Amazon, AMZN. I wanted to look at that today. This thing gapped up with a huge volume, continues to have a decent volume. Yesterday had 5 million shares, 3.2 million shares already today. But going up against the February 26th high out here, I don't know what else you can say about that other than it's hit that previous high and it's had substantially better volume. Checkpoint Technologies, another one that's trying to break out here today. Not a lot of juice compared to yesterday. Yesterday had a big move on 3 million shares. You've been basically looking at this $84.50 to $86 range as being a resistance. And you had a kind of a lighter volume test on April 10th. It pulled back a little bit. Volume did increase, and then, of course, it turned around. But just like most of these, you get out into some free running range area, and you should be able to see big volume and a big price break, and I don't see either. American Express, of course, a couple of days after the earnings. Not a whole lot going on with this one. But it probably needs a little bit more volume than 22 million shares it had on Thursday for what is that, Friday? Today's Tuesday, Monday, Friday. Earnings were on Thursday. It came down, but the volume wasn't enough to bust out what is really fairly significant volume on the 13th of February with almost 35 million shares. So that pretty much is about the stocks that I wanted to talk about. We'll look at some other. Oh, I talked about at the beginning, I'm seeing some patterns out here with some of these stocks that are the bells of Wall Street. And they are acting very much like Stratasys did right before it fell apart. Of course, they were distributing this thing for a good long while, and we were short it. This made a clear and unambiguous signal and test of the top on September 18th. last year against the July 1st high in Stratasys of last year. But there was a lot of movement and volume came back in. People were buying this thing as conditions deteriorated. No one cared until they had to care. But I'm seeing this in a lot of setups where we're getting these kind of blow off tops and kind of starting to act like this. You get some fairly significant retraces back in to those move down off the top. And then these things just kind of fall apart all in one day and generally on earnings. But I do digress. But I'm looking at a couple out there right now that really remind me of this that I'm following in the newsletter, and that is massive distribution by a lot of funds that are in this thing. And the question is, when does everybody just turn tail and run on these? But I do digress. We looked at IBM already, a few other stocks. We were in, had people call me in Maxwell. We got in Maxwell at about 650 in the Tech Insider, back where this thing made a low. We sold out after this little blow off top at 849. I didn't like the way this thing was coming back. It basically you basically had a nice reversal signal here off that 849, and it kind of blew off the top, let me put it that way, on March 31st. And so we got out, I think 790, 795, started acting weird there, and I just wanted to get out. But fairly significant pullback today, and that's kind of up against others in this sector, which I think is probably more important, which is stocks like Tesla having a fairly good day. Not a lot of energy out here, but this alternate energy companies are not looking all that bad. The solar index, the TAN, not having much of a day at all. Very inside day out here. So not a lot of confirming signals from a lot of these different stocks. But I do digress. What do we have out here? Technology continues to be pretty strong. To find a few of these other ones out here that I'm looking at. Okay. Well, anyway, we're going to look at a few stocks. I wanted to go through some of these Gartleys from last week. Again, we've been watching the ones from these housing stocks, which are probably the most interesting to me. And I want to see how these things are confirming this. But they were probably some of the ugliest out here, which makes me think that we've got some stuff out here. Beezer today up a little bit on very light volume so far. We'll have to see how this thing closes. But pretty much a textbook Gartley pattern out here. It went to the 7-8 retracement, which is actually 80% on this one, but close enough for government work. We also had been watching at KB Homes, almost the identical same pattern out here, except this one maybe can't even muster any kind of volume or an update up here. Just two dojis in a row out here to the right side, but energy very light other than one gap up in KBH. So I continue to watch those. What do we have out here? That was the 15th. On the 14th, what do we have? Royal Gold. Let's take a quick look at this one. Royal Gold actually making a little positive Gartley out here. Didn't get back down as far as I would have liked it to, but a lot of symmetry in this one. And the energy actually fairly bullish in this. And maybe that has a lot to do with the fact that they don't have to pay any mining fees. But certainly, if you were looking for gold stocks, not a bad-looking Gartley pattern out here in RGLD. But it has everything. The the X to A leg had a lot of energy. The C to D leg Most of the energy came out. Would have liked a little bit more of a retrace and a little volume in here today. But I guess you never get all of everything that you want. Wanted to take a look at some of these other ones and other patterns. We had the CSX. Of course, that was going into earnings. This thing's done pretty much a job to go back up to its C point today. But a lot of intraday volatility on these railroad stocks, which is kind of weird, but certainly have it. Another one out here that's in a, or was in a Gartley pattern, was Cordaline. It kind of broke that pattern out there today. And I don't know what else to say out here. Let's look at some other stocks real quick. I've got a few other lists rolling around. Give me just a second. Of course, we've got a lot of action in that IBB. Mylan Pharmaceuticals. Of course, Teva proposed to acquire Mylan for $82 a share. So you had a little gap up on that, and that's giving the IBB a little bit of a bounce. That kind of pretty much finishes another ABC up in Mylan. Let's take a quick look at the IBB. Again, this is not a bad pattern out here as long as you continue to close above the 3x3 or a 9-day moving average. But any turn down on this would confirm a short in that sector. 6XIQ, BH. A lot of these stocks were the same out here. To see what else do we have? LRCX. LRCX. Lam Research. Beat its Q3 EPS estimates by 10 cents. Beat on revenues, guided to Q4 above consensus price tag, raised at Cohen, Needham, Credit Suisse, and others. And certainly we have that. Nice gap up, lots of volume. Did not break the previous highs. You still need to go up against those $85 highs, $84.49 on February 25th, and the larger volume December 4th, $85.75 with 1.7 million shares. Of course, you have 8.3 million shares, so that thing should be flying today. ARMS Holdings, they are doing a lot of work, and it looks like they had a good first quarter. ARMH. And it looks like they're going to be going to Samsung instead of Taiwan Semiconductor in the future to build their chips for other people like Apple. But certainly we've got a little gap up here on at least some good news. Earnings of 7 cents per share in line with Capital IQ of 7 cents, rose 21.9% year to year for revenues. And I don't know what else you can say. It doesn't look bad. And raised at Topeka Capital. But nice light volume. You would like to see 1.6 million shares through the March 2nd high at $54.64. Give me a call at 877-927-6648. Email me at path@tfnn.com or post a message in the den. Postage, a message.
Trade with confidence and clarity while using the software that thousands of institutional traders rely on to make the best and most accurate decisions. Choose from 1,000 equities, currencies, and futures instruments utilizing the TAS architecture. As seen on Bloomberg terminals worldwide, the TAS Profile Scanner is a benchmark technical filtering system that thousands of traders rely on, and now you can too. For a limited time for TFNN subscribers only, we've reduced the price to just $97. That's over 75% off. John Logan hosted a special subscriber-only webinar in December, and you'll gain access to that archive as well, so you can learn exactly what the TAS Profile Scanner can do for you. Try this product out. No matter what you trade, the TAS Profile Scanner can help you make more informed trading decisions. There's no obligation to pay anything. Don't let this offer pass you by. Get your 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner today by signing up at TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
We're told to follow our passion and everything else will fall into place. I hope that's what each of you are doing each and every day. Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Money Master Show at TFNN.com, and my passion for technical analysis is what led me to the most fundamental discovery in pattern recognition, the Rhodes Momentum Indicator, market scanner, and trading strategy. A set of tools that identify the momentum and power of the trend, the likes of which have never been seen before, for every market and every time frame. Yes, folks, the trend is your friend, unless you're on the other side. New to technical analysis? This is the place to start. And experienced traders take advantage of the trend like never before. Experience the power of the Rhodes Momentum Indicator each day, available to subscribers of my newsletter service, Mastering Probability. I guarantee your satisfaction for the next 30 days unconditionally, so there's no risk to you other than being on the wrong side of the trend. Mastering Probability, available on the homepage of TFNN.com. And folks, live with passion.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And we're back. Andy sent me a little note here. We've got 3 new articles out on Seeking Alpha. Wheat, the second most political commodity in the world. Sugar, how long will this sweet rally last? And 5 reasons to buy platinum rather than gold at Seeking Alpha. So go check those out. And we're looking at a few stocks out here. Harley-Davidson out with earnings, and of course, not too good. Beat its EPS estimates by 3 cents, but it missed on revenues and lowered its fiscal year 2015, reaffirmed margin guidance, but so they're not dropping the prices of them, but they're not going to be any, I don't think they're going to be selling as many. No real indication about the price or whether or not the dollars hurt them shipping them overseas, but certainly back down to the low out here where it's going to test it probably in the next day or two, October 15th, $54.22. You had 3.2 million shares. Got down to 55.59 today on 11 million shares. And that's that gap down. You're going to go to the 54.22 from October 15th pretty quickly. Kind of hard to figure out what went wrong there. Another one, probably the most significant one out here. I got enough time. I want to see if I can get 2 in before the end of the day. The most significant one out here is packaging Corporation of America. The reason why is when they're doing well, other people are ordering lots of bags to ship stuff in and boxes. When they are not, no one else is. And this is the one that tells, if you want a canary in the coal mine for industrial production, anything from dog food to everything else, then you can certainly see this one down on heavy volumes, going to break the previous low significantly. It's already $4 below that already today. And that tells you everything you need to know out here in that one. And you've got some support levels back into the 21st of October last year, but you've already exceeded the volume in those. Hard to see this thing not coming back over the coming weeks back to the October 15th low at $57.06. Again, if you're paying attention to any corporations in the semiconductor world, it's Xilinx and Altera. In the industrial shipping area, it is Packaging Corporation of America is the one you want to pay attention to, because if someone is basically pulling a lot of their orders to them and they are not doing well, the rest of America is not doing well either. So going to be tough. Today is Tuesday, isn't it? So we've got Andy Heck at 5, Tom O'Brien for the next 2 hours. Guess Andy's probably going to be talking a lot about chickens. And they're probably not these chickens coming home to roost, but chickens with a cold. No one likes those chickens. Oh, Chapman says he's doing Tom's show today. So we'll be looking forward to Mr. Chapman. They don't tell me much around here. But we'll look forward to a double shot of Basil. So that's 3 hours for Basil today. Be a lot of Basil. I kind of 1 hour is, I don't know if I can talk that long. You've got to have a lot of things to talk about. I got to be prepared. I can't wing it that much. Wing a little bit. In the meantime, hang on for 2 hours of Chapman. It's like a double espresso of Basil, isn't it? Anyway, so when you can, not when you have to. And we'll see you tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time. Hang on for a double espresso of Basil.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. You're watching Tiger TV.